What's up, everyone? It's your host, Jen, and we're here to spill the tea and throw some shade. Let's get into it. So Kayleigh's in the house today, and she is someone that is very special to me. We've worked really closely together for the last 2 years, and it has been a roller coaster ride from the start.
Absolutely, yes.
But nonetheless, it is positive. I love the relationship that we do have, and I'm here to share a little bit more about the woman that you hear a lot on the phone, probably.
Hello.
And now you get to see her in person and hear about her and get to learn more about her. Kayleigh has a plethora of knowledge in so many different aspects of her life. I read her bio for the first time, even though we've worked together for 2 years.
2 years later.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I learned so much. I'm just going to kind of summarize everything, and you can tell me if I'm correct on this.
Okay.
Kayleigh came into the aesthetic industry. Her mom was an esthetician, and that's how she learned about this and developed an interest in this area. Not only that, she was kind of all over the place, did competitive dance at a very young age with her dad, who was someone who was very hard on her throughout her life. So everything she did is 110% from what we've seen anyways. She's worked in fashion marketing, studied at Fanshawe in London, Ontario. Ooh. And has worked in the Toronto nightclub scene, winning many bartending awards. So you can see everything is done well above 100%. She goes above and beyond. Not only that, she's worked in the compounding pharmaceutical industry and is now currently developed her own post-procedure products.
So we're working on that right now. I'm very excited about it. Me and my close girlfriend, she worked with me at the pharmacy as well. We specialize in compounding. And we took a bunch of courses like compounding for dermatological needs. And, working with this company, I find that there's maybe a bit of room for a couple of products that we would love to, create and launch. And so we're working on that right now. Very excited.
I see a collaboration coming with the medical aesthetics industry and Monaco.
Hope so, absolutely.
There has to 100%, be. I feel like
yes.
I can't say no now. No pressure. Not only that, Kayleigh currently works as a clinic director, managing our 5 locations of medical spas for Monaco Medical Aesthetics. I guess, where do we even begin?
Where do we begin?
So
start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. Yeah. How we met and how we found each other. We were talking about it before the podcast on our second take. We've had some technical difficulties leading up until now. About how you entered Monaco. And it was a really interesting way because we brought you on when a large amount of employees were actually departing. Some who didn't have great things to say, unfortunately. I mean, that's every industry, but it gets tough because the people you know and are familiar with in your workplace are now leaving. And oftentimes when, courage works in numbers, and especially with women, if you see someone leaving or they're not happy, it kind of scares you because you don't know what's to come. And it's the fear of the unknown. And is my job stable? Like, I just started here.
Yeah.
So what made you stay?
To be quite honest, when I applied for the job, it's because I wanted to be part of that company. I was a client prior to that, and I loved Monaco. And when the opportunity came up, and it came up at a really good time, I applied. I didn't think I was going to get the job, but I killed my interview. And that's saying a lot because I'm usually not good at interviewing. But I killed my interview, and, I got hired. And when I came on, there was a transition period of definitely, especially in the Mississauga location. I was, brand new, and then all of a sudden I had to take care of a clinic that, went through a really big change. And for me, that was challenging, but I loved it. I love a good challenge. So I really took that on, and moving from there, I think you gave me a lot of trust. You didn't know me, but you gave me a lot of trust in running that clinic, and the challenge of bringing it back to where it was. And I think I hopefully succeeded in that. And then you started giving me more responsibility, more opportunities to, to excel. And I think that's really, being grateful towards an employee because they're doing a good job is one thing, but really kind of rewarding them with more more responsibility, but more also opportunities and more involvement in the business. So you're more involved in the growth of business, which is what I really wanted. I think you gave me a lot of those opportunities, and you didn't know me that well, but you threw that on me, and you had trust that I can do it. And I think that was really encouraging. And then I saw how I can really help the growth of the business. And that was my biggest thing, is I really want to help build something and help something succeed. So help a business succeed. So I think that really encouraged me, and how you were with me, that really encouraged me a lot. And I really wanted to be part of the company.
Absolutely. What do you think motivated you to make it your own?
There was really no choice at that point,
I know, it's like,
it was
sorry,
the furthest,
here you go.
Yeah, it was the first, honestly, I always like a challenge. So, and I talked to Owen about this, and, he loves starting new businesses. And to me, it was like, starting a little bit fresh, we're cleansing, and we're going to try to see how we can make this successful again. And I think I really took that challenge on, and I said, well, let's see if I'm capable of doing this. I think I'm smart enough. So let's see if I am actually, and it was just, the challenge was great for me. And I think working with Ruby as well, who was fairly new then too, I think we worked great as a team, and we really just kind of took that as our little baby that we needed to nurture. And then we made it what it is. Yeah.
I love that you said that, because in business, it truly is a baby. It doesn't run on its own. It's about the people that are there and how they take care of it and foster.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting because, you've come on and you took on a challenge and a role, and you eventually got promoted because you weren't a clinic director initially.
Yeah.
How can people make themselves noticed in their workplace so that they get that job promotion, they get that recognition, they get that pay increase or whatever it may be?
Absolutely. So to me, I think it's just first and foremost work ethic. I think, when you're doing something, you have to give 110%. I think, not to be mean, but the younger generation doesn't have much of a work ethic. I think there's a lot of, and especially if you're not passionate about what you do, I think there's just this, notion of, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to put in my 8 hours, and then I'm going to go home, and that's it, but you're not really utilizing those 8 hours to do the best of your abilities, because maybe you're not interested in what you're doing. Maybe, you don't want to be there, but, and you're never going to love all aspects of a job, but find those things that you do love doing. And then just, for me, it was all about a challenge to myself. I can't do things just half-assed, I have to put my full ass into it. So
I love it.
So for me, it's, working hard, supporting the company, being there for the company, and knowing that, everything that you do is going to be rewarded as long as you really are there for the company, as long as you really, you are passionate about what you're doing. You're putting in your 110%. I think people just tend to slack a little bit, sometimes. And I think if you do work hard, it will be recognized no matter what.
And do you ever notice in previous or current workplaces that sometimes if you don't ask, you don't get? I know for myself, I worked as a server for so long, and the promotion was being a bartender when I was back in university. And I worked really hard and was always on time. I upsold, I worked my hours. I, do whatever I could to get noticed, but I never got that promotion.
Everybody thinks about themselves. Nobody's thinking about, I think this person wants a promotion. I think this person wants that. If you don't ask, you're never going to get, and if you do ask and you don't get, at least you asked, right? But I think if you don't put yourself out there and present that you are interested in other things, people are just going to assume that you're good with where you are, and a lot of people are good with, they don't want to, let's say they're doing some job, but they don't want to, move forward because they're just not really, they don't even really want to be there. They're not going to, they're not going to ask for the promotion. They're not going to want to excel. But then there's people that do want to, and they do have to speak up, because most of the time people won't know. Your bosses won't know if you want to move up, if you want, the next challenge, all of that. You have to communicate that. You have to show that you want that growth,
Absolutely. And I think that's the number one thing. Like when I have done job interviews in the past, a number of reasons of why people left their previous workplace was because of lack of growth. There wasn't any opportunity to move onwards and upwards. So people leave. They get bored, right?
100%. And I think sometimes, certain jobs you don't have anymore. You can't, there's nowhere to go anymore, right? You've reached the top. This is where it's going to be. And if you're, if you get complacent, your job's going to start lacking, I think. So at that point, I mean, if you have reached, the top and you're not going to go anywhere else, then yeah, maybe, a change in venue is what's necessary. But for the most part, in most jobs, if you ask for more opportunity and more responsibility, it'll be there for you. You just need to communicate that.
And how do you find managing approachability and leadership? Because we've talked about this before, where it's like that's constant balance, power struggle.
Yeah.
And you've never abused your power. You're cognizant of what you have and how you convey to the staff, because you do want them to still be able to talk to you about their concerns. But how do you migrate the two?
I think, when I talk to the girls, to the service providers, even though I might be their manager, I've never once used the term, hey, I'm your boss, so listen to what I'm saying. I never, put myself in a position where they feel that way. I think, everybody knows what the structure is, and no one's abused it. I haven't abused my position. And in the end, the girls know, and I've mentioned this to a lot of girls, and I've mentioned this to my admin team too. Yes, you might be the manager, but in the end, you're working for the service providers. You're working for them. You're working to make sure that they're busy. You're working to make sure that, their day goes smoothly, so it's not about, I do as I say because I'm your boss. It's about we're all working together, and sometimes I'm actually working for you, and I think there needs to be that kind of humbled, especially if you're in if you're in a higher position, you have to be humble about it. You can't use this, there's a difference between a leader and a boss, I always say, right? So a boss is going to be standing over your head, yelling at you and reminding you of, what your position in the company is and that you're higher than them. Whereas a leader puts things in a way that, hey, let's work on this together. Let's grow together. How can I help you succeed?
It is the epitome of like female empowerment, really, right? And everyone is strong. You're as strong as your weakest link. So if you can make that weakest link as strong as possible, then everyone wins from it.
100%.
And it's a great way to look at it, because you're doing a backwards hierarchy. It's like you work for your staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a really good way to...
I absolutely believe that. If the girls need me to do this, that, and the other, absolutely. I'm here to make your job easier. That's my job.
You taught me this term, Peter Pan syndrome, and I'd never heard of it before. Can you tell me what this is and how it relates to the age thing?
Yeah. So Peter Pan syndrome, it is, it's not recognized by the CDC as an actual, disease or anything like that, but, and it's predominantly in men, but I think it definitely translates to women. It just translates a little bit different, especially with the beauty industry. But basically Peter Pan syndrome is just, not wanting to grow up, not wanting to take on adult responsibilities, fear of commitment and things like that. And, fear of aging. And obviously with women in the beauty industry, we all, I guess, maybe not all, but a lot of us fear the aging process. And I think it works a little bit different for us. But I think it really translates to the beauty industry, where it's like we're chasing that next thing that'll make us younger, because society's telling us, oh no, aging is bad. When in reality, like when you really think about it, you should be like, if you wake up tomorrow, and you're healthy and everything, you should be grateful for that. You should be grateful for those extra years. If you reach a certain age, be proud of that. But I think as women, we're so made to fear aging, because aging means, you're going to look different, and then we're, obviously chasing this thing that'll make us, look younger and then internally feel younger, but for me, I think I've always had a problem with aging. It stemmed actually from when I was really young. I remember I was 16 and I was about to turn 17. And literally I cried because I wanted to stay 16. All my girlfriends were lying about their age. They were like, no, I'm 18, I'm 19, getting their fake IDs and everything. And I literally cried turning 17 because I'm like, no, I want to be 16 forever. And I didn't know where why that was happening. And then later on in life, I realized like I was always a late mature. I was always like kind of late to the party with everything. And I noticed that I do have a fear of aging because I feel like, I have to achieve so much before a certain time, which I put so much pressure on myself to do that kind of those kind of things. And I feel like time is something that we cannot control, and I'm a control freak. So I think it's really hard for someone that has no control over something that's moving, and all of a sudden you're this age and you haven't achieved this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden you're panicking. So
do you think it's like your fear of lack of achievement?
Yeah, I think so.
And then also the fear of lack of control would be it?
100%.
Rather than aging itself?
No, aging as well.
You're like definitely aging.
I think, I look in the mirror and I'm like, well,
you're in the right
I looked like
profession.
5 years ago. Absolutely. And I think that's what I love about what we do here is that we can actually give that confidence back to women. We obviously can't reverse, the aging process, but we can help you, feel better about yourself, by doing these little things that, when you look in the mirror, you're like, it's not bad. This age, it's not bad. And I think that's what was, lacking way back when women looked in the mirror, they were like, hey, things are, wrinkling and stuff like that. And now we can kind of stop that. So it's nice.
I'd rather age than look weird.
Yeah,
because sometimes
absolutely.
you can overdo it with the treatments and
a lot
everything.
of people overdo it. Yeah.
And there is a negative stigma to aging, but do you think that every woman struggles with it to some degree? The Peter Pan?
Maybe a mild version. I think so. I think especially nowadays with social media, with the pressure that's put on women, I think it's a lot harder to just be okay in your skin. And even if you are, someone in the back is telling you, well, you shouldn't, especially social media. And any woman can look in the mirror and be like, I look great. I feel great. And then she'll go on social media and she'll see ads for this, that, and the other. And then she's going to have her questioning, well, maybe I don't. Maybe I do need this kind of stuff, So I think it's really hard for women these days with aging and with the pressure that's put on us to continue to look a certain way and do all these things to be able to preserve that youthful look.
Absolutely. I think that's the hardest thing. How do you cope with Peter Pan syndrome? Because it's not something that's like a known diagnosis.
No, for me, I think it's just about remembering that aging is a privilege. It's not something that's guaranteed. So remembering that, remembering that looks aren't everything. It's about, your mindset, about the little things that you do with your family and your friends. Those are the moments that you're living for. You're not living for, to preserve youth and keep looking youthful and, not aging and all of that. You're living for those little moments with your friends, with your family, with your pet, with, fulfilling like little, things off your bucket list, let's say. I think that's what we need to remember, that's what we're living for.
Absolutely. I love that saying, aging is a privilege. And I think that's something we need to remember.
Yeah.
In terms of empowering clients and, because we see it, right? People come in and they're like, oh my God, I'm turning 40 or I'm turning 50 or I'm turning 30. And it's like devastating, right? That change in a number can really hit home where you're like, I'm not young anymore.
It's scary how that number has so much power over us, but again, I think it has a lot to do with social media these days. I think, there's an unrealistic expectation placed on women, especially, aging women, even younger women. I mean, it's really hard for the younger girls that are coming up now, seeing unrealistic, images of girls on social media. And they're like, well, that's what I'm supposed to look like. I don't think us growing up, we didn't have that. We didn't have that kind of social media. We didn't have that sort of pressure, It's really hard for younger girls, I think, now.
So you're in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And does your partner have social media?
He does.
And
he does not know how to use it.
Do you ever? Okay, I was going to say, I was like, yeah.
He doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah, thank you. So it's so funny because so for me, Owen's our partner and he does not have social media. He has like the main Monaco one, whatever. Yeah. But in terms of looking at what your partner looks at and the type of woman they look at, I feel like that can really, dig deep on your own self-esteem.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So he doesn't look at he doesn't know how to use it?
No, I'm sure he looks at, TikTok's full of girls that are, doing their
he
little
has TikTok.
dances. Oh
okay.
Yeah. He loves TikTok, but,
he's seen 18-year-olds.
Yeah, no. Okay. I'm very happy that my partner is a ginger, so he's very blessed to have me. I'm just joking. No, I'm very fortunate because my partner makes me feel loved and beautiful every day. I don't have, that feeling of he's looking for someone younger or hotter. I mean, we have a very long history. We were like in love with each other in high school,
This is amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't date until, we just got back together about, I would say 2 years ago, but we
right
had
when
some
you
history.
started with us.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
So cool.
Yeah. So, we have a history, and I think, he makes me feel beautiful every day. He makes me feel loved. He doesn't make me ever feel like, I need to be worried about him looking for the next thing. I'm sure
you're like so hot anyway, so I don't even know what you could get that's better.
Honestly, it's intimidating to see the girls on TikTok, obviously, and see what he's seeing. And it's always going to be intimidating to any woman because it's not about if someone's prettier than you. It's just that they're different, because everyone looks different. And it's, in the end, it's like, well, would they prefer that or me kind of thing? But it's you can't think like that. Like,
it's so funny because I feel like, does he have a type?
Me?
There you go.
No,
Good answer.
He doesn't though. But I don't think so. I think, especially when you come to our age at this point, it's, you have to start thinking about it's more than just the looks. It's definitely looks are just a bonus. He loves who I am. He we have great chemistry. We have a great connection. We talk about a lot of things. We have the same values and the same hopes and dreams for the future. So I think that is the main thing. Like he might be looking at another girl that, of course he's going to look, he's a man, just like I would look at a woman or a man, that's just human nature. We're going to look. If something's pretty, if something's gorgeous, we're going to admire the beauty, but it's just about the connect. Like, come on, like there's way more than just looks in a relationship. There has to be. And then, and if you have that connect, if you have that deeper, connection, there's no reason for you to ever be worried about somebody looking at somebody else on Instagram.
That's amazing. It sounds like you are the role model for how it should be when it comes to relationships and mindset and, dealing with jealousy and social media and other hot women out there, right? Like, it's hard because especially when you struggle with Peter Pan syndrome with, your uncontrolling variables of age. Yeah. Right. But you look phenomenal. So what do you do for your face and body?
So what do? I do obviously my Botox, my routine every 3 months Botox. We do lip fillers for sure. We do a little bit of cheek fillers. I have to actually get these guys done. I think this kind of ages us a little bit. So just put a little bit there. I do my facials. I do my Morpheus treatments. That's great for collagen production. That's about it. I keep it pretty simple on my face. I don't want to go overboard, right?
Yeah. So no, you look very, very natural, rested. But I mean, that's the idea behind us.
I had a woman actually comment not too long ago. She came in and she looked at me and Jess and she goes to see, who was she seeing? She was seeing another nurse and she was like, I just don't want to look like them. They have so much cheek and chin filler. I'm like,
they said that about you and
Jess? And Jess. And I'm like,
what?
I don't even have cheek filler.
Oh my God, but you're like, those are my natural cheekbones.
Yeah. So at that point I didn't have any cheek filler and she's like, I just don't want to look like them. They have so much cheek and chin filler. I'm like, I don't even have anything.
You're like, it's all natural
it's
for
my
once.
Lips. It's just my lips I've done. So, and then Jess is like, she's got a very brown face. So she's very youthful looking and, but there's like that stigma.
She looks like a Bratz doll, but in a good way.
She does, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So I think there was like that, I don't want to look like that. Well, you're not going to. That's my face. This is yours,
And that's great to hear. Have you had an I made it moment?
I think I have an I made it moment a lot. I don't think of them as like a really big thing. I set goals for myself. And when I achieve those goals that I think maybe, I never know if I'm going to achieve them or not. But when I do, that's my I made it moment. Like for instance, when I won bartending awards, for me, that was like an I made it. I know it's like in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal, but like that was my I made it. Oh my gosh, I actually made like, a name for myself in bartending. When I remember when I went to college and I tried out for my college cheerleading team and I made it, I was like, that's my I made, like that's what I really wanted. So that was my I made it moment. So I have these little things, like even getting my like the dream car, the car of my dreams. Like when I was 23, I wanted this specific car. I didn't know how I was gonna get it. I didn't know how I was gonna get the money for it, or how I was even gonna find this car, or how I was gonna insure it. But I got it, and then that was my I made it moment. I think there's just little things just in life. I just put little. Like if you focus on one big goal, I feel like you lose all the little things that are going really good in your life and that you're hoping to achieve. So I think that's what I like to focus on, these little things.
Absolutely. And I think it just makes more, it's more fulfilling when you know that you've achieved these little goals along the way to something big, and it's more positive in your life.
Absolutely.
You're a happier person.
100%. I think you have to give yourself recognition. We forget to do that.
Absolutely. Do you journal?
I used to.
I feel like you don't have time to journal.
I don't, and I want to. And also, I feel like journaling is great in the mornings, and I am not a happy person in the mornings.
You're like, I'll do it
just
now.
Don't talk to me in the morning. So, I do want to start journaling. I think there's really, putting something on paper. I used to write. I was writing my memoirs actually probably 10 years ago. Nothing like really, who's going to read it? But like, it's just nice and cathartic to get it on paper. So, but I do need to get back to journaling. I think it's important. Do you?
No, I have a 5-minute journal book that was really popular on TikTok.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It's still blank. I have yet to do it.
Stop.
I'm working on that.
You have to. It's 5 minutes.
I just journal through podcasting. I'll just reflect on here and put it out there.
Perfect. I love it. I think it's just
episode,
as long as you're putting it out there. Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And what's the craziest thing you've done, if you're comfortable sharing that?
Okay, so here's the thing.
No judgment. Everything stays on this podcast.
You guys are going to judge me for sure. I block out a lot of things from my childhood and my early teens. I was not, completely sane. You're
fired. No,
let's not put But I think the craziest thing I did, getting a tattoo of my boyfriend, his initials on me.
Wait, your current boyfriend?
Well, current now.
Okay.
Again. But so the guy that I'm dating now, when we were 22, I want to say, or 21, we dated. And about a month into our relationship, we got our initials tattooed on each other.
Oh my God. But thank God you guys were together.
I know.
But were you on and off since 22? Or have you guys been together? Well, no.
We continue. Okay, we were on and off for a year after we broke up. We broke up after 3 months, by the way. So we got tattoos of each other after 1 month, and we broke up 2 months later.
Oh my God.
And then we kind of were on and off for a year, and then we just remained friends here and there, and then we just got back together 2 years ago. So I mean, completely different relationship. Like, I'm a different person, he's a different person, so it's like I wouldn't even consider getting back together. It's like starting a relationship with someone new.
Yes.
But yeah, 1 month into our relationship,
where did
we got
you guys
tattooed.
Get it put on your body?
On my wrist.
Okay, it wasn't somewhere there. Like scandalous.
Yeah, no, it's very visible. Everyone still asks me.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's a little R.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's simple, because I mean, if you weren't with him, you just have to find someone else with an R.
Exactly. And I did actually.
Oh my God, you're like, this is for you.
Every guy actually, a couple of guys after that, they were all R's. I'm like, this is convenient. That's great.
It's like perfect. Oh my God.
I just keep telling everyone that I was trying to tell my lefts and my rights, and I accidentally put it on the wrong hand. Because I actually can't tell my lefts and my rights apart. I have a scar on my left hand. That's how I can tell if I have. So
what's this scar from?
I was 4 years old, and I was climbing up on a shelf, and I fell on a vase, and it just sliced my. Yeah. So
wow,
this is my reminder.
Deep one.
Yeah. So this is my reminder.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they sewed it on. They sewed it wrong.
They sewed it wrong.
They sewed it wrong here, so I got a bump. But it's fine.
My God. And just a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you have your boobs done?
Yes, I do.
I know you wanted to talk a bit about boobs. So can you tell me what you know about breasts?
Okay. So here's the thing. Breast implant surgery is so common now. Everyone's doing it. Yeah. The thing is that I think it's really important to really educate yourself before you're getting your boobs done. Listen, the whole thing I went through, I still think it was a great decision, but I went through a nightmare I got them originally done when I was 22. I didn't do my research. I didn't know anybody with fake boobs back then. So I went to a plastic surgeon that was in Yorkville thinking, oh, he's going to be great. He's in Yorkville, Turns out he wasn't that great. So I had issues. No. Yeah. So I had issues. They never really fully dropped. So I had to get surgery done 3 years later with another surgeon. He took them out, put them over my muscle. And still they weren't sitting properly. One of them was developing scar tissue. So I had to go through another surgery 2 years after to remove the scar tissue. Still having a bit of issues with them. And now, I'm in the middle of a bit of a lawsuit with a certain company that has had implants on recall, and that's all I'm going to say. So we're going to have to get those removed again and swapped out. So It's been a struggle. And listen, I'm not going to lie. I don't regret what I did. I think boobs are great, but I think it's really important for women to really do their research. I think there is a standard in Ontario where you can be a plastic surgeon if you have your own clinic and have taken courses, but you can't perform in a hospital unless you're a board certified plastic surgeon. And I think people forget that. So people will go to any plastic surgeon that has their own clinic and not realize that they're not on the board of, plastic surgery. And so there is that gap, I think, of education and I think it's really important for women to really do their research properly if they're going to do this, because, it can turn out like what I'm going through, right?
Like multiple surgeries.
Exactly. And it's
right.
yeah, and exactly. And it's costly, and it takes a toll on your health and and your mental state. And I think so it's just really important that, you don't jump into something, or you don't just, Google some plastic surgeons and just go there. I think it's important to talk to whoever you can. And I'm always here for, advice if you need it. But just talk to whoever you can about, how to go about booking that appointment.
Yeah, I didn't realize how popular breast augmentation was until I got mine and I was talking about the preparation for the surgery. I had them done in 2019 and I went to a surgeon, but he did have his own clinic, but shared with other surgeons.
Okay.
In Yorkville. So I wonder if it's the same one.
No, mine is no longer.
Okay, got it.
No,
yes.
he was banned from surgery.
Oh no.
Yeah, my old doctor. Yeah. So
okay, so this one I think he's still in practice.
Okay, so you're
we're
good. You're good.
It's okay. But yeah, it was really cool because you'd go into this looked like a really nice apartment building. Mm-hmm. You go up this old school elevator and all of a sudden it opens and it looks like a hospital.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool. It was on Avenue Road. So I guess it's like a bougie area of town anyways. Yep. And the surgery was done there and it was quick and easy. Mm-hmm. I had children after, of course. Mm-hmm. Conveniently, I got pregnant 4 months later after the surgery. No. And now I'm pregnant again. So we'll see where that takes us. But so far, so good. And I think the breastfeeding maybe helped it to drop a little bit. So it's settled right. But I just don't want it to keep dropping. Yeah. I was like, we need to keep it here.
Yeah, that's what I always wondered. When you get pregnant and you have the implants, obviously your boobs are still going to grow. And then do they settle well after?
Retract back, but then they relax a little bit. So you do get a little bit of a drop, but then it doesn't sit as high as it would normally if you didn't have the breastfeeding. So it does make them look a little bit more natural, but I feel like if they inflate so much and then deflate so much, some women just get so much more engorged than others, then yes, you can experience more laxity and then eventually needing a breast lift down the road, but I'm going to wait and see. Like, I'm just happy they're not nipples and nothing anymore. I had nothing before, but well, thank you, Kayleigh, for coming onto our podcast. This was your first one, right?
This was my first one. Yay! It's so much fun. I love it.
It was so great to actually sit down and get to know you better because
I feel like we're too busy always to have the conversations that are like more personal and stuff like that.
It's like,
we're always too busy.
I mean, I'm always in the other location and I'm like back to back and you're slammed. So it's all business usually.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is really nice. I like it. My first podcast, it popped at my cherry.
So if you guys want to get to know Kayleigh a little bit better, you can always reach her at the Monaco location in our Mississauga or Burlington location for any of your concerns and complaints or any booking needs, please. No, I was like, we don't welcome those. But it was great to get to know you on such a personal level and get to know all the avenues that you're in. But you know what? It's really important that we optimize on all of your strengths because I think that's really important in your role, that it'll help you grow. It'll make sure that you're happy and that you're constantly evolving and, capturing all of your skills. Yeah. So thank you so much for being on here.
Awesome.